which theory is founded on the idea that humans are biologically driven to seek gratification and that people do this based on processes that have developed outside of conscious awareness with origins in childhood experiences as well as influences everyday behavior, leading to actions like aggression, sex and self-preservation. A. Psychodynamic theory. B. Behavioral theory. C. Cognitive theory. D. Psychosexual development theory. A. Psychodynamic theory. Psychodynamic theory was originally a theory of personality created by Sigmund Freud. It has evolved significantly over the years, and many theorists have contributed to it. Freud believed human behavior could be explained by intrapsychic processes and interpersonal patterns outside of a person's conscious awareness and based on their childhood experiences. A general definition of psychodynamic theory is that forces outside of a person's awareness explain why they behave a certain way. Psychosocial development theory was introduced by which theorist who believed personality develops in a series of stages, and each of these stages serves as a foundational element for maturity during the course of your life. A. Sigmund Freud. B. Albert Bandura. C. Ivan Pavlov. D. Erik Erikson. D. Erik Erikson. Erikson created an 8-stage theory of psychosocial development. In psychosocial development theory, humans are believed to go through these stages as they age. Psychosocial development theory can influence social workers, who can look at what stage of development their clients are going through and use the theory to better understand the challenges their clients are experiencing. What are the 5 stages of Freud's psychosexual stages of development theory? A. Genital, oral, latent phallic, anal. B. Anal, phallic, oral, latent genital. C. Oral, anal, phallic, latent genital. D. Oral, anal, latent, genital, phallic. C. Oral, anal, phallic, latent genital. Freud organized psychosexual maturation into 5 distinct phases. Each stage symbolizes the concentration of the libido, or instincts on a different area of the body, i.e. erogenous zones. In order to mature into a well-functioning adult, one must progress sequentially through each of the following psychosexual stages. Stage 1 Oral. Age range birth to 1 year, erogenous zone, mouth. Stage 2 Anal. Age range 1 to 3 years, erogenous zone, bowel and bladder control. Stage 3 Phallic. Age range 3 to 6 years, erogenous zone, genitals. Stage 4 Latent. Age range 6 to puberty, erogenous zone, sexual feelings are inactive. Stage 5 Genital. Age range puberty to death, erogenous zone, maturing sexual interests. This theory uncovers how a person's thinking influences behavior, and places emphasis on dysfunctional thought patterns that influence problematic behaviors. Ergo, what we tell ourselves after an activating event. A. Psychodynamic theory. B. Cognitive behavior theory. C. Behaviorism and social learning theory. D. Social learning theory. B. Cognitive behavior theory. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is a psychosocial intervention aiming at lowering the symptoms of a variety of mental health conditions, most prominently depression and anxiety disorders. CBT aims to improve self-regulation skills and establish personal coping mechanisms for problem-solving by confronting and modifying cognitive distortions such as thoughts, beliefs and attitudes and their associated behaviors. Its uses have grown to include the treatment of a wide range of mental health disorders, including anxiety, substance use disorders, marital troubles, and eating disorders, despite its origins as a depression treatment. CBT refers to a range of cognitive or behavioral psychotherapies that treat certain psychopathologies with evidence-based procedures and strategies. A social worker has been meeting with a client for the last 7 months who is celebrating 30 days of sobriety. Client reports that they changed their eating habits and spends 4 hours in the gym every day. Client reports that he experiences some pain in his joints and frequent headaches. Client states, "Hey, at least I'm not using." This would be an example of A. Displacement, B. Projection, C. Rationalization, D. Sublimation. D. Sublimation. Sublimation is a mature type of defense mechanism, in which socially unacceptable impulses or idealizations are transformed into socially acceptable actions or behavior, possibly resulting in a long-term conversion of the initial impulse. The part of an individual's personality that acts as a moderator between the other parts of that individual's personality, the conscious and the unconscious, and is responsible for reality testing, and a sense of personal identity is known as the A. Superego, B. Ego, C. Conscious, D. It. B. Ego. The ego operates based on the reality principle, which strives to satisfy the id's desires in realistic and socially appropriate ways. The reality principle weighs the costs and benefits of an action before deciding to act upon or abandon impulses. The ego functions in the conscious, preconscious, and unconscious mind. According to Freud, the ego develops from the id, and ensures that the impulses of the id can be expressed in a manner acceptable in the real world. This model includes the following 7 stages: assess safety and lethality, rapport building, problem identification, address feelings, generate alternatives, develop a plan of action, and follow up. A. Crisis intervention model, B. Problem-solving model, C. Task-centered practice, D. Solution-focused therapy. A. Crisis intervention model. Crisis intervention is a short-term management technique designed to reduce potential permanent damage to an individual affected by a crisis. A crisis is defined as an overwhelming event, which can include divorce, violence, the passing of a loved one, or the discovery of a serious illness. A successful intervention involves obtaining background information on the client, establishing a positive relationship, discussing the events, and providing emotional support. Which theory focuses on how people act, the reasons that determine those actions, and primarily on how an individual's environment affects their actions, rather than considering inward growth as the primary factor. A. Behavior, learning theory, B. Cognitive theory, C. Psychosexual development theory, D. Psychodynamic theory. A. Behavior, learning theory. Behavior learning theory or behaviorism is a theory of learning which states all behaviors are learned through interaction with the environment through a process called conditioning. Thus, behavior is simply a response to environmental stimuli. Behaviorism is only concerned with observable stimulus-response behaviors, as they can be studied in a systematic and observable manner. 42-year-old Mary is meeting with her social worker in her private practice. Mary reports that she wants to be in a relationship, however, she has trouble making intimate connections with the opposite sex. Mary states that men tell her she is too aggressive and she herself is overcome with anxiety whenever men try to show her any affection. Upon further assessment, Mary discloses that she was sexually abused by her uncle when she was a child, then states, "But I'm okay because I don't remember what happened." This is an example of A. Repression, B. Displacement, C. Rationalization, D. Sublimation. A. Repression. Repression occurs when a thought, memory, or feeling is too painful for an individual, so the person unconsciously pushes the information out of consciousness and becomes unaware of its existence. The repressed thought may still affect behavior, but the person who repressed the thought is completely unaware of its existence or effect. Introduced by Sigmund Freud, the purpose of this defense mechanism is to try to minimize feelings of guilt and anxiety. Which theory is a branch of psychodynamic thought that suggests relationships are more critical to personality development than individual drives and abilities? A. Drive theory, B. Social learning theory, C. Systems theory, D. Object relations theory. D. Object relations theory. Object relations is a variation of psychoanalytic theory that diverges from Sigmund Freud's belief that humans are motivated by sexual and aggressive drives, suggesting instead that humans are primarily motivated by the need for contact with others, the need to form relationships in the childhood environment. Particularly, the need for attachment is the bedrock of the development of the self, or the psychic organization that creates the sense of identity. In what stage of Freud's psychosexual development theory is the primary focus of the child's libido centers on their genitals, as the erogenous zone, and begin to discover the difference between males and females? A. Phallic, B. Oral, C. Latent, D. Genital. A. Phallic. The phallic stage is the third stage of psychosexual development, spanning the ages of 3 to 6 years, wherein the infant's libido centers upon their genitalia as the erogenous zone. The child becomes aware of anatomical sex differences, which sets in motion the conflict between erotic attraction, resentment, rivalry, jealousy, and fear, which Freud called the Oedipus complex in boys and the Electra complex in girls. This part of the personality is composed of internalized ideas that have been learned from our parents and society. A. It, B. Ego, C. Superego, D. Conscious. C. Superego. According to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory of personality, the superego is the component of personality composed of the internalized ideals that we have acquired from our parents and society. The superego works to suppress the urges of the id and tries to make the ego behave morally rather than realistically. The superego is the last component of personality to develop. Systems theory is based on the belief that individuals don't operate in isolation, rather as products of complex systems, influenced by a variety of external factors, including other individuals, families, communities, and organizations. Which of the following is not a systems theory? A. Family systems theory, B. Transpersonal theory, C. Contingency theory, D. Ecological systems theory. B. Transpersonal theory. Transpersonal theory suggests the existence of stages beyond the adult ego. These stages contribute to creativity, wisdom, and altruism in healthy individuals, but can lead to psychosis in those lacking healthy ego development. Transpersonal theory does not focus on systems, but instead takes a more holistic approach addressing mental, physical, social, emotional, creative, and intellectual needs with an emphasis on the role of a healthy spirit in healing. In what stage of Piaget's cognitive development do children gain a better understanding of mental operations and begin thinking logically about concrete events, but have difficulty understanding abstract or hypothetical concepts? A. Sensory motor. B. Pre-operational. C. Formal operational. D. Concrete operational. D. Concrete operational. The concrete operational stage is the third stage in Piaget's theory of cognitive development. This period lasts around 7 to 11 years of age and is characterized by the development of organized and rational thinking. The child is now mature enough to use logical thought or operations, i.e. rules, but can only apply logic to physical objects, hence concrete operational. Children gain the abilities of conservation, number, area, volume, orientation, reversibility, seriation, transitivity, and class inclusion. However, although children can solve problems in a logical fashion, they are typically not able to think abstractly or hypothetically. A social worker is conducting a home visit with a family who lives on the second floor in a low-income housing complex. During the meeting, the social worker is startled by the sound of gunshots that seem to be right outside the window. The social worker ducks down to the floor while the family continues in their activities as if nothing happened. According to Pavlov's classical conditioning theory, what did the sound of the gunshots elicit from the family? A. Unconditioned response. B. Unconditioned stimulus. C. Conditioned response. D. Conditioned stimulus. C. Conditioned response. In the Ivan Pavlov theory, there is a stimulus and a response. A conditioned stimulus elicits a conditioned response. If you're accustomed to the stimulus, you'll likely respond in a similar fashion. In the Pavlovian theory, a dog's conditioned response is to salivate for the food as soon as they hear the metronome. In the case the family is conditioned to not react to the sound of gunshots outside their window, as it may occur often, and they have grown accustomed to it. Social work theories and practices help social workers analyze cases, understand clients, create interventions, predict intervention results, and evaluate outcomes. Why is this important for social workers to learn and use various theories and practices? A. To apply their own attitudes, reactions, and moods to client. B. To reinforce personal assumptions and beliefs. C. Ensure competence, explore behavioral issues, drive practice, and find the best solutions. D. To add to the skills section of a job application. C. Ensure competence, explore behavioral issues, drive practice, and find the best solutions. Social work theories are general explanations that are supported by evidence obtained through the scientific method. They explain human behavior, how humans interact, or how humans react to certain stimuli. Practice models provide social workers with a blueprint of how to help others based on the underlying social work theory. While a theory explains why something happens, a practice model shows how to use a theory to create change. Social work is a dynamic and demanding profession that requires a variety of skills and qualities. Whether these skills are innate or acquired, success in the field requires social workers to continually develop them throughout their career. In psychoanalysis, this person stresses more on understanding the person as a whole being, whereas Freud focused on the fragmented view of an individual's ego, superego, and id principles. A. Melanie Klein. B. Alfred Adler. C. Carl Jung. D. Erik Erikson. B. Alfred Adler. Freud believed in the concept of split personality, whereas Adler believed in the concept of the individual as a whole. Adler believed that conscious and unconscious work together in harmony, while Freud believed that conscious and unconscious are separate, and the unconscious mind can't be controlled. A social worker is meeting with a 16-year-old client and his mother. The mother explains that her son has recently changed the way he dresses, and the friends he spends time with. The mother states, "He quit the baseball team and just sleeps all the time." The teen reports that his parents got a divorce 3 months ago, and he has to step up and be the man of the house, but gets frustrated because his mother still treats him like a kid. What stage of Erikson's psychosocial development might the social worker say the boy is in? A. Trust versus mistrust. B. Intimacy versus isolation. C. Industry versus inferiority. D. Identity versus role confusion. D. Identity versus role confusion. Identity versus role confusion is the fifth stage of ego in Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. This stage occurs during adolescence between the ages of approximately 12 and 18. Identity involves the experiences, relationships, beliefs, values, and memories that make up a person's subjective sense of self, which helps create a continuous self-image that remains fairly constant even as new aspects of the self are developed or strengthened over time. Youth who are not allowed to explore and test out different identities might be left with what Erikson referred to as role confusion, which can result in being unsure of who they are and where they fit, drifting from one job or relationship to another, or feeling disappointed and confused about their place in life. Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development suggests that children move through 4 different stages of mental development. In which order of stages do children move through? A. Sensory motor pre-operational, concrete operational, formal operational. B. Pre-operational, sensory motor formal operational, concrete operational. C. Formal operational, pre-operational, sensory motor, concrete operational. D. Sensory motor pre-operational, formal operational, concrete operational. A. Sensory motor pre-operational, concrete operational, formal operational. Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development suggests that children move through 4 different stages of mental development. His theory focuses not only on understanding how children acquire knowledge, but also on understanding the nature of intelligence. A child's cognitive development is not just about acquiring knowledge. The child has to develop or construct a mental model of the world. Cognitive development occurs through the interaction of innate capacities and environmental events. In Kohlberg's 6 stages of moral development, which stage is often referred to as the good boy, good girl orientation, where the focus is on living up to social expectations and roles with an emphasis on conformity, being nice, and the consideration of how choices influence relationships. A. Stage 1, obedience and punishment. B. Stage 5, social contract and individual rights. C. Stage 4, maintaining social order. D. Stage 3, developing good interpersonal relationships. D. Stage 3, developing good interpersonal relationships. Kohlberg's theory of moral development is a theory that focuses on how children develop morality and moral reasoning. Kohlberg's theory suggests that moral development occurs in a series of 6 stages. Stage 3 occurs during the conventional morality period of moral development, which is marked by the acceptance of social rules regarding what is good and moral. During this time, adolescents and adults internalize the moral standards they have learned from their role models and from society. This period also focuses on the acceptance of authority and conforming to the norms of the group.